Have y'all ever had a relationship fail because of the type of content that your boyfriend was watching? I just saw this girl, and I'm gonna tag her below, and she was talking about how she lost her boyfriend to red pill content. Well, I basically lost my boyfriend to manosphere content. And that was the beginning of the end. I didn't know it though. One day, I came home. I was in my vanity room. Okay, I have a room just for myself with my clothes and my makeup. In that room, I have a TV. One day, my ex, he comes in my room where I'm decompressing, mind you. And he goes on my TV and he says, baby, I want you to watch this creator with me. Okay. And I said, oh, okay. Because at this point, me and him have been together for about a good 3 years. So I feel like when he was suggesting content to me, it's because he thought that I also might enjoy it. So I said, oh, okay, what type of content does he make? And he says, well, he comes on his platform and he invites women on there and he basically argues with them. And I shit y'all not, the first question that came out of my mouth after he said that was, is he gay? Because in my mind, I don't know an actual real man who goes out about his way to argue with a woman just to tell her about herself. Because in my reality, okay, that don't happen, right? I didn't grow up with men who were around.
I've been hearing this shit for decades already. They always want to throw in these ad hominem attacks when they're being told about themselves.
And the ones that did do that type of shit, they were gay. So that's why I asked that question. He starts to laugh and he's like, nah, he's not gay. It's just that he likes to debate. He likes to go back and forth with the women and tell them how they're wrong. And I was like, okay, just go ahead and put it on. This motherfucker gonna put on Kevin Samuels. Mind you, I did not know who the...
Shout out to Kevin Samuels. May he rest in peace. This man changed so many lives, man. Men and women. So many lives. Let's let her finish.
He was at that point, and most people didn't know who he was at that point because he didn't blow up yet. He puts him on, and mind you, I'm just listening because I'm not watching. I'm taking off my makeup and shit. I'm hearing the content. I'm just like, I look at my ex at one point. I'm just like, can you take him off my TV, please? So my ex just starts to laugh, and he's like, oh, what, you don't like him? I'm like, hell no, I don't like him. And then I start to like question him, like, why the fuck would I like him? So fast forward, me and my ex get into an argument. So we get into this fight, and basically he asked me why I wouldn't do something, like, or why I wasn't like taking him serious or paying attention to him about some shit he was trying to say. I can't really remember, but I told him I cannot take you seriously because you don't pay any of my fucking bills. That's why I'm not taking shit that you're saying seriously. This motherfucker gonna say, this is why women end up alone. I say, what women do you know that are ending up alone?
A lot.
Like, that's the shit that I see when I'm watching those videos, because he started to watch just not only Kevin, but he was watching, you know, other influencers who had the same type of content. So I told him, this is where I had to break it down for him a little bit. I had to hurt his feelings. I didn't really want to do it, but I'm just like, you getting out of fucking hand, like, you really getting out of line. I was like, I don't.
Yo, why does she sound like a dude? Honestly, fuck you mean you getting out of line? You know what? Let me let her finish, man.
Why someone like you is watching content from people like them. You, first of all, don't have the same money as them. You don't have the same lifestyle as them. You don't have the resources they have, and you don't have the platform they have. So why the fuck is someone like you being influenced by someone like that? You, a grown-ass man, almost into his 30s, because at this point he was like 29, 28 or something like that. Almost into his 30s, you're listening to another grown man. You don't have your own ideology set. You don't have your own morals and values to follow. You're letting somebody else that don't even fucking know that you exist influence you.
You know what's wild about this whole thing? She was with the motherfucker for 3 years. But now you want to berate him. You want to emasculate him. Go ahead. All right.
You're a grown-ass man. You try to say you're a grown-ass man. That's fucking crazy. I didn't understand that. I really didn't. Because, yeah, social media is fun, but I cannot say I've ever been influenced by a fucking creator on here. Because, bitch, if you're trying to sell me some shit and I don't want it, I'm gonna keep fucking scrolling. If it sounds like some shit that don't sound right, I'm gonna let you know it don't sound right. But it's hardly ever I get influenced by somebody on here. And this grown-ass man wants me to take him serious. The one that's getting influenced by somebody. The one that don't pay bills. You want me to take you serious? What the fuck? I said you need to stop listening to the motherfuckers because they got you fucked up. And now you got me fucked up. He just shut the fuck up. He didn't say nothing else. He didn't say shit after that.
Yo, she said, you got me fucked up. I feel so bad for men that got to deal with this. This sort of masculinity, man. This is crazy. And there's a lot of you out there that are dealing with this because a lot of you don't have the financial means to stand within your manhood, your masculine frame. You out here moving into people's apartments, into women's apartments, and not making any money, and all you're doing is playing video games, and they out there getting the bag, and that's why they behave like this. She sounds exactly like a man. Let's listen to what else she's got to say.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to you when I get home, and I hung up, and that was the end of that conversation. I should have known that that was going to be a problem, okay? Now, another thing, too, if you have a boyfriend that has, and this is not all of them, this was just the one that I had, and there are many others that are like him, okay? So please don't get this confused. Do not run with this shit, okay? Sometimes men, where they have an absence of a father in their life, if he sees a man talking about things that other men respond well to, then he will also try to adopt their ideas, adopt that behavior. Because they think that a man is teaching them something that they don't know. Because they didn't have one growing up. So now they're looking for that. Is what I'm trying to say. I hope I said that right.
Nah, you didn't. You fucked that up too, just like your entire monologue was fucked up. But you know what? Let's clear a few things up here real quick, right? Number one, Kevin didn't go out of his way to argue with women. That's where her man got it wrong. He ran a call-in show, right? Women chose to come on the show and share their dating standards and ask Kevin for his advice. And his answers were direct, sometimes even blunt, but always built on these themes. It was always fitness and femininity. You had to lose weight. They rejected that shit. Attitude, drop the combative behavior. She's a perfect example of what he spoke about. Cooperation, respect a man's leadership. A man didn't have any. The friction came because women rejected that feedback, not because Kevin was picking fights. And like I said, the setup, the way her man set this up for her, she was told Kevin argues with women. That's a misrepresentation. And it gave her the excuse to dismiss him without listening, ultimately using ad hominem attacks, which is critical here. In a lot of circles amongst women, they tend to weaponize the term being gay as an insult against men who set boundaries, who won't tolerate disrespect, who refuse to be manipulated. It's lazy, in my opinion. It dodges accountability instead of addressing the point. They attack the man's masculinity. But men who reject combative women aren't doing it because they're gay. They're doing it because they want peace and respect. Her response actually proved Kevin's point. If you watched Kevin or any of his videos when he was alive, you'll understand she's a perfect example of what he would talk about. But notice what's missing in her whole story. There's no father in her life, no masculine authority in the home that matters, right? That is of substance. Because without a father, a woman's picture of manhood comes from fragments. It comes from their peers, gossip, TV, hip hop culture, dysfunctional relatives. That's why when her boyfriend tried to introduce her to Kevin Samuels, she instantly disrespected him. Kevin's message clashed with her reflection. And here's why it cut so deep. Kevin always said, you can't demand a high-value, disciplined man if you're not bringing those qualities yourself. For her, that wasn't abstract. Obviously, just judging her by the shape of her face, she's overweight. Probably by 60 pounds. She probably doesn't even have kids yet. So she can't blame pregnancy or motherhood for her weight. It's lifestyle. It's her choices. That's why she found Kevin insulting. Not because he was wrong, but because the truth stung. And her boyfriend, He just wanted respect after realizing he had none. That's normal for any man, but instead of respecting him as a man, she tied his value to money. Talking about, I can't take you seriously because you don't pay my bills. That's not partnership. That's leverage. And when she compared him to Kevin Samuels and influencers with platforms, she basically told him, you don't measure up. So your opinion doesn't matter. That right there is emasculation. And no man with self-respect would tolerate that. She also mocked him for listening to Kevin, as if seeking guidance from men with more wisdom is weakness. But that's the opposite. Men who grow up without fathers need guidance. Learning from disciplined men, successful men, is not dependency, it's wisdom. Masculinity has always been passed down through mentorship and leadership. The bottom line here is this. The relationship didn't end because of Kevin Samuels. It ended because she was disrespectful, territorial. Everything was my this, my that, my place, and refused to respect her man unless he reached some financial status in his life. Kevin wasn't the problem, the mirror was. And it's women like this, man, that he spoke about day in and day out. The ending here, I'll leave it at that. She got me fucked up right now. I will say this. Men need to focus on their priority, and their number one priority is getting the bag, their career. Focus on establishing wealth. That's going to lay the foundation for you guys. Now, look, whether I agree or disagree with the content creator, I'm always going to link him back, and you can find him in the description, and you can go on to her platform, and you can follow her and all that good stuff. But look, I'm going to leave it here. If she doesn't change her mindset, she's going to wind up dying alone, as Kevin Samuels would always say. Buy a dog and die alone. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one.